Hello, lovers of Entrepreneurship in Focus. I'm your host, Marlon Joseph, and I'm super excited to be here on another Tuesday evening so that we can interact with each other. Iron sharpens iron, and I'm super excited to hear from you and to hear from our guests we have in studio. I must let you know that last Tuesday we had a phenomenal time with our then guest, Carissa McCure, and she shared about her shipping business, and we were able to hear about a young woman in business. This evening, we're fortunate to hear from a young man in business, particularly HR. I want to also acknowledge those who took the time to follow us through the International Building Expo. For those of you who are joining, you can definitely attest that we had a ball. We had a grand time interacting with each other, learning about different personalities, seeing me showcase a little singing and dancing skills that I do on the side, and having a grand time. Notwithstanding, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining. I'd like to acknowledge Seema Hernandez. I am seeing Margaret joining from Barbados, and several persons joining. It is a pleasure to have you guys joining us as we continue to help each other grow. Allow me to welcome a young man in business, and particularly HR, Mr. Gopaul Ramgobin, to our program. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Marlon. Good afternoon, viewers. Firstly, thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you. We love interacting with young people in business and entrepreneurship so that we can hear from them and we can hear of their motivation, their reasons behind joining. So tell us a bit about yourself. What makes Gopaul Gopaul?
Right, so Gopaul Ramgobin. I'm 25 years old. I've been in HR basically all my work life. So in terms of business, it's only most natural that I move into an HR and recruitment business. So I also studied HR, completed up to my degree level, and I did some work in supervisory management. So HR was just natural for me.
Awesome.
Yeah. Outside of HR though, I like playing sports, cricket, football.
Okay.
That's my kind of thing.
So we should see you representing Ghana sometime in one of these sport areas.
Hopefully.
Apart from that, you worked in your life. What motivated you to leave work to go into entrepreneurship?
Well, in terms of that movement, basically I wanted to create a legacy for my future generations, and in terms of a business, that is a way you can leave a mark, leave a legacy for your future generation, something they can build on and grow with. Because it's a tough world now, so you must lay some foundations for your future generation.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I have almost all my family members in business.
Okay.
They sell goods, products, but in terms of services, probably one of the first that dabble into services and more so HR.
Mm-hmm. So what is the name of the business that you have?
Right, so A&R Recruitment and Consultancy Services. A bit of what we do, so we're into staffing, so basically filling vacancies for companies, small business, medium size, large. So in terms of staffing, companies coming into Guyana, not aware of the culture, not aware of the way we do things here, providing that bridge of supplying staffing or filling openings, critical openings for them. We also do training and development, so training in terms of customer service, defensive driving, supervisory management, and a whole host of other trainings, all certified. We also help with immigration services, so companies looking to bring employees into Guyana, we assist with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our main focus at this point in time.
I love it.
At A&R.
So what does A&R means?
Okay, there's actually a little backstory on that. So the A stands for my wife's name, Alicia. My call name is Navin, and the R is my last name, Ramgobin. So that's how the E&R came about.
Okay. And that is what you meant when you said we.
Right.
We do X, Y, Z.
We. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So help us to zoom in a bit on what you've mentioned as it relates to recruitment. So
Okay,
anybody, regardless of whether the staff level, whether it be from a simple receptionist or cleaner right up to manager, CEO,
right.
you're able to source?
Yes, so we have sourced from, well, actually, we dabble in multiple industries. So we have dabbled, or we are currently within the oil and gas sector. Um, but we also deal with small businesses who are in hospitality, tourism. So from your housekeepers, cleaners, food and beverage personnel, receptionists, right away up to C-suites, general managers, country managers. So we're able to source all of those because we have accumulated a database of over 1,000 candidates. So
Okay,
we are
nice.
able to fill those gaps for all these companies out there.
Awesome. And I just want to say big up to Renato and Aaron joining on our Facebook. It's a pleasure to have you guys joining. So back to you. So when persons, for instance, I need a staff, is
Right,
the staff trained before they're sent to me, or I have to take care of all of that?
right.
Because you also mentioned training.
Yep. So we're a full service provider. So if you require a particular level of staff and we have employees, that or candidates who may not be up to that level as yet, we would train them and have them certified before they move into your organization. So, say for instance, you want someone within the customer service arena,
Mm-hmm.
they would be, say, your front desk agent for a huge hotel. You would want that person to be trained in customer service because that is the face basically of your business.
Mm-hmm.
So we have them trained in customer service. So when they go into work, they're equipped with the necessary skills, knowledge to function.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, and for the training, is there like a particular timeline? For instance, 4 months, a year, 2 years?
Yeah. Well, in terms of the training, the different programs or different trainings, it will be varying times. But the basic customer service would be about 3 days. Um, I know some companies or some trainings are normally a day, but that 3 day is to give them practical experiences and ensure that they're trained adequately. But in terms of the other trainings, it normally varies and it could take from a week to a month, depending on the training and the level of training needed.
Mhm. Okay. So you mentioned quite a number of training areas. Are there other persons or trainers working along with you to be able to administer these trainings?
Right. So we have partnered with Clark's Productions Inc.
Hmm.
Mr. Clark, if you're watching, so he's been like a mentor to me for the past couple of weeks, months. So he has been the guiding force in terms of training for us. So he's experienced trainer. He's a business coach. He's a leader. So he handles all of our training needs. So in terms of customer service, if you call him, you'll get the full introduction. Yeah. So Mr. Clark and Clark's Production Inc. handles all our training services and needs for our clients.
I love it that you were able to partner with a company that deals with training.
Yeah.
So you're able to take care of the entire aspect of recruitment and development as it relates to sourcing of persons, onboarding, training, job readiness, and so on,
Yeah.
to be able to meet the respective openings that are happening. Because another concern that we've been hearing about is that there are several opportunities that are available, be it even on entrepreneurship and so on. But the question is, were people trained to effectively maneuver to fill these gaps? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think we're still have a
Far way to go.
not a far way. I think we still have a bit more to go towards that. Because um, from the time oil and gas came into Guyana to now, we are a long way down that road in terms of our local content and the how equipped our local content is to tackle the oil and gas sector. Now most of the companies are required to be local content certified and have a fleet of local content, or basically following the local content act. Right. Yeah. So I think we're on the way.
Okay, and have you partnered with companies, because we know that there's a labor shortage? Have you partnered with companies, or maybe other recruitment agencies in different countries, to be able to assist with sourcing professionals and to do reference checks and so on?
Okay, so we do our reference checks currently locally. In terms of partnerships overseas, we haven't moved into that as yet. But that is our next step to move international, from the Guyana market to the Caribbean and then international. So our vision is to, I'll just give you a tidbit, our vision is to offer peace of mind to business owners by basically handling all their staffing needs whilst providing opportunities to job seekers. So we want to tackle both sides. We have our job seekers and we have our business owners, and we want to bridge that gap, not just in Guyana but internationally.
So tell me a bit about your conflict resolution skills, because as HR professionals, there's always some problem popping up somewhere. Be it with the candidates, either you have them and then they go to the work site and they create some kind of problem, and then the people link it back to you or so on. What systems? How do you handle things like those?
Well, first off the bat, you need patience, right? Because we've had, for example, we would invite, say, 10 candidates for an interview and just 5 show up. And then when the 5 show up, maybe two are off for the position, and then no person shows up to work. Then it moves us to basically redo the entire process. So we're working on systems to improve that. And I don't know what may have caused that, but we are working on systems, because that's an issue right now, because what we find is there are more jobs than persons, and suitable persons right now.
Interesting, sure. And as a young professional, how do you view customer service in Guyana?
Customer service, well, I could say for sure we still have a long way to go for that, to go in that arena, because you still go into a lot of stores and you could know, or you can feel that there's no customer service training done or being administered to these to the employees. However, there's still we still have a few that stick to the principle that customer service is the way to move, and when you walk into certain business places, you know for sure that they have been customer service trained and they are well equipped to handle any type of customer that walks into that business.
But in your years of expertise in HR, can you elaborate some more on what are some of the reasons you think we struggle with poor customer service in this 21st century?
I think it has a bit to do with our culture. A lot of us growing up, we're not accustomed to the level of customer service that is as recognized internationally. So we think it's normal that you walk into a store and you just treat it like just another person, rather than you treat this person as a potential. So the persons walking, they don't treat them as a customer, treat them as just a friend, somebody from over the road. But internationally, when you walk into stores, you know right off the bat that these persons are willing to engage, they're willing to treat you with the utmost excellence. But I think it has a lot to do with our culture.
There are certain experiences that would stand out to me. For instance, over at the recently concluded Building Expo. And I want to use the opportunity to encourage companies, particularly when they're going out to events such as those, that they'd want to have their persons trained on basic courtesy and ethics and how to interact with people, because I visited and I also observed that some persons are having a discussion and then all of a sudden the person just left to attend to somebody else without even asking for basic excuse, and the person standing there like, what the hell, what has happened?
Yep.
So I believe, for instance, needs to be trained, and I also believe that everybody cannot work in customer service. I think customer service, even though I think customer service is an art, and you must be intentional with it.
Yep.
And many times, as entrepreneurs, I encourage persons to try to look beyond the basic sale. Let us look at building a relationship with people, with
Right.
our clients, so that they will feel the warmth, so that they will come again, and that relationship can go a fireplace rather than you just offering a sale or pushing a sale and what next after that sale. The person
Right.
come, they interact with you, you sell them, yes, they purchase the good or service. Are they satisfied? Are they going to come again? Are they going to refer you? And I also believe a lot of customer service problems we have happening in our organizations, and particularly if we want to say the public service, is because some people don't generally have a need to assist, or a desire to assist people. Also, I feel persons attach lots of emotions and bring their personal challenges and bring it to work and affects them, which in and truly, if persons operate from the perspective, it is what it is, or as somebody would have said, I think it was Les Brown, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm, then we'd have a better place.
Correct.
Because if somebody is to come to you, and most of the times when customers come, they're not necessarily upset with you, but upset of a situation most of the times. Now, we can, if we're able to separate our emotions and separate ourselves from this situation, focus on the situation at hand, we would have a better interaction with the people. And there are certain skills that can be implemented so as to create that atmosphere that customers come, they feel motivated, and they're able to get things going. Because a lot of organizations, when you go into them, you have to beg them to say good morning. They're even greeting you with a smile. Even at the building expo, when we were there and I was interacting with people, regardless of whoever it is came to me and I'm sitting there, I
Yep.
stood there to interact with the people.
Yeah. For example, when I was there at the Building Expo, you would walk past and persons would just be staring you down,
Mhm,
not greeting you or inviting you into the booth.
mhm.
Because you never know who could be passing you at an event of that magnitude. So I think we still have a fair way to go in terms of customer service,
Mhm.
and I think my opinion is we need to take it personal, but as well remain professional.
Let me take it personal.
So we take it personal and intentional then,
Mhm.
right? So if we're showing up to work today, if we're in a customer service oriented position, we need to own up to that. Meaning take it personal, but you need to remain professional.
I
I don't know
think
if you want
I
if
think
you understand what I'm trying to get at.
I think regardless of what position you're in, be it front desk, customer service, you're a cleaner or someone, you should be able to have people skills, be able to communicate effectively. It should be welcoming, because particularly for companies, your first set of customers are your employees or your internal customers. And if we as a company don't have good communication and we're able to build and foster strong relationship, how can you take that which you don't have outside to the public? Charity begins at home. And customer service is a lifestyle if we want to go further, because you can't
Yep.
switch it on and switch it off. You've got to live customer service, and that is why I believe persons like you and I, our role in training and recruitment is very essential, because we help to create or to shape the
Yep.
workforce and to create a culture that we want.
Right. We need a culture change here and there.
And
And
sadly too,
we have started to change, but we still have as I mentioned, we still have a far way to go from the change in the culture towards customer service.
and sadly, many people also don't believe in the need for training.
Yep.
What if we train our people and they leave? But if you don't train them and they stay, what will happen?
Even more detrimental to your business, because with training them, they would also see the value or your investment, because as you said, a lot of companies don't see the value in training. So if you go into an organization that is investing in your training, that's an investment in you as well, because once you're trained, you take that on for life. That remains with you. You can use that skill set anywhere.
I think when people adopt the disposition that, and they think, because I oftentimes do some deep thinking that life is short, and why waste time performing mediocre? Any single thing that you're about to do, why not, or you're doing, why not do it to the best of your ability? If you're going to be a cleaner, the cook, the bottle wash, or even the manager, why not do it to the best of your ability? Give of your all. And that is why Les Brown said, to live rich and die empty. What does it mean? Is that when you're alive, all of the talents, the abilities, the gifts, you pour that out. So when you die, you rob the grave of all of that richness, all of that talent. So every day, I say to myself, Marlon, you have to make today count. What are you going to do different? How are you going to make today stand out? If tomorrow is your last day, would you be satisfied with the way you live today? And things like that I would ask myself. So it's a motivation for me to get up and go forward. And I love, because this morning I was also listening to the live that the Guyanese critic did, and he was talking about getting out there and going to make money, going and get rich again. And many people, they want things, but they say they sleep, they relax, and they want to achieve things. Why not get out and persevere and push and press forward? There's only one shot we get at life, and why not let us do it to the best of our ability?
Agreed.
Somebody's asking, is there a heavy demand for the services that you offer? And how do you get clients if you advertise or so?
Okay, so in terms of the first question, yes, there is a heavy demand for our services presently. In terms of us getting clients, we use we do in-person meetings. We schedule those and we go and meet clients, and we also do cold emailing and or general social media marketing.
Very nice. And I'm guessing every day you will promote different aspects of HR and let persons know how they can be able to reach you.
Yep. So in terms of that, well, basically I do all of that. So when I'm not editing CVs or reaching out to clients, I'm editing stuff, which I think is my weak point. So I had a far way to move from where I am now to my first flyer. It was an absolute mess. So in terms of designing flyers, that was a major challenge for me.
Well, if you want flyers to make your work, to be able to do all the important things, you can reach out to TBN. All your flyers, graphic designing, video content can be done right here at TBN. So feel free to reach out and you can get your stuff.
Yeah.
But this, the point that you mentioned about the CV editing, I believe there's an opportunity for that, because lots of persons have been reaching out to me on LinkedIn to review their CV.
All right. So my thing is, the CV is the first thing you basically you face to an HR person before you face. So whatever is on there, how you present that is critical in terms of you landing a job. So for any CVs that we submit, we thoroughly vet and edit to submit and suit the client and the position.
So tell me a bit about your due diligence for a client.
Okay,
Because
so
you said you thoroughly vet.
right. So in terms of the editing of the CVs I was referring to, so in terms of certain clients, I would think one of our unique selling points is our personalization. Because every client is personal to us. As a recruiting agency now looking to grow, we take care in handling our clients. So we sit down, we have a chat, we discuss in detail with clients what exactly they require. So when we're submitting, we ensure that our candidates basically possess the foundations of what they need, and if we need to edit to suit whatever is good to the client's eye, we need to do that, to put forward the best picture of our candidates.
Okay. So in terms of the reference checks and the police clearance and to verify that what I actually say is true and I
Right.
actually receive a certificate from the university, do you guys also go
Yeah.
the extra mile?
So we're in the process of outsourcing that full background check function. Currently, we do it in-house by reaching out to past employers and to do a background check on candidates. But there are a few providers of that detailed background check that you speak about. So we're in talks with one of the providers to do that because they would thoroughly vet your application in terms of your qualifications, your employment history, and you as a person in general, in terms
Okay.
of reaching out to the police and all of that. But at present, we do that in-house. Basically, we verify their employment history and ensure they are cleared by the police.
Interesting. Because I'm aware in the HR field as well that some persons, if they have had a problem with their last company, they just leave it out. I mean, how you gonna know that this person worked at this place before going to this place?
Right.
So they just leave it out. So when you're thinking that you're getting a real a person with honesty or clear character and stuff, sometimes people omit information. Well,
Yeah.
what are the key questions that you would ask persons, to your past employers? If you had to hire this person again, would you hire them
Yeah.
back?
That is a question we always ask.
So if the person said no, we would hire them back, even though they might have given a glorious reference. You need to take that into consideration.
Right. So normally that raises a red flag immediately if the past employer won't hire them back. Because on the CV there could be things that they're showing that their past employer, or things that they're covering that the past employer would have experienced. So there must be a reason why they won't rehire this person.
And is there a criteria for selecting references? Because some persons, I mean, they would put some pastor or some foreigners as reference. And when you check, maybe the person, they've never worked with this person to be able to spend an amount of time with them
Right.
for the person to know their character stuff. Are there like any criteria or anything?
Right. So in terms of references, we normally ask for at least, so we ask for 2 references, but we need one from at least your past employer or your past employer and or the one before the past employer. Depending on the tenure of the employment. Because sometimes the one before the past employer, they would have spent a longer period of time, so they'd be able to better evaluate them there.
Okay. And are there currently any openings that you're looking to fill?
Right. So as we speak, we actually have an opening in Barbies for a customer service specialist, which is for basically a shipping and logistics client. They're in the courier business there. And in terms of in Georgetown, we have an opening, or we have openings. So we have an opening for an auto electrician. We have an opening for a cashier. We have an opening for front desk receptionist. There are a few others that I think I'm missing.
Mhm. And you guys hire for both or recruit for both full-time and part-time employees.
Well, at present, we're only focused on the full-time employees.
Mhm. Okay. So have you received any special award or recognition or anything?
Well, in terms of special awards, not as yet, but we are local content certified,
Nice.
and we are a member of the Center for Local Business Development,
Mhm.
a supplier member
Okay.
with them. Our next step is to move forward into ISO certification. Um, we basically have to do some work to get there, but that is our next step
Mhm.
forward.
Have you seen any direct benefit from the registration with the local content secretariat?
Yes, in terms of that, a lot of companies coming into Guyana are requiring you to be local content certified. A lot of the oil and gas companies require you to be local content certified before they even think about moving into business with you.
Interesting.
It shows that you have you're in compliance with the Local Content Act, and you want to improve or invest in the local people, because that's what they're coming here to do, invest in Guyana and also to move the country forward.
So if I get you clearly, the foreign companies is asking you to be local content certified
Correct.
to do business with you.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. And what major challenges have you experienced in the business?
So in terms of challenges, I think I mentioned a bit earlier in terms of candidates.
Mm.
You would meet a candidate this week that is in need of a job. You would set up interviews, submit CVs, and that sort of stuff, and then it's either they show up for the interview, or sometimes they don't show at all. In the instance of where they show up for the interviews, sometimes they don't show up for the job. So it's a case where you need to basically redo your entire recruitment process to fill certain positions, which you would have already had a pipeline of candidates to fill.
But is that to say that Guyanese don't want jobs? Because we are aware that we still have unemployment issues here in Guyana, even
Right.
though there's a labor shortage.
Yeah, I think it's a case where there in certain sectors there are more jobs than suitably qualified persons to fill. So um, if there's somebody that would fit a particular role, another company come calling, they would switch.
Mhm.
So in terms of that, that's a major challenge for us and a lot of HR managers out there.
Mhm. So that's it on your recruitment aspect. Now let's hear about the challenges from an entrepreneurial aspect.
Right.
Is business always coming? How are you able to maneuver and so on?
In terms of that, so business, so some months you would do well, some months you don't know what's next. But my theory is you remain consistent. Uh, you do what you're meant to do daily, and you will reap the fruits at the end. Because some days you feel 100, some days you feel 50, but you still need to put out that effort because it's on the road to that fruit that you're going to pick.
And what major successes have you received?
In terms of successes, one of our major successes was landing a huge international client and being able to suitably or sufficiently staff their fleet. So far that was one of our major achievements, because when I started, I didn't imagine that this recruitment business can be targeted to that market. So now it's a big eye opener for us, and
Mhm.
we need to move to that level now.
Awesome. So looking back at where you would have come from to where you are at right now, would you say that you've made a good decision in leaving your full-time employment where you're guaranteed that your salary will be there every month? You just need to go and do the work and be there on time and so on. Or the entrepreneurial journey is working out far better.
I think there are still some challenges in the entrepreneurial journey. Um, because some months you're very low, but I don't regret the decision because as I said, once you remain consistent, and we have seen the fruits bear, and we're willing to persevere.
I love it because nothing good comes easy. And many people, when they think of entrepreneurship, they think, oh, you get easy money. And many times we come up with these great ideas, beautiful, brilliant, and we think that everybody's going to jump on board to support us. And sometimes we have to work really hard, and even the people that we think will support us in supporting us. But we made a decision and we've got to continue to persevere and be innovative and, like you said, be consistent, showing up, because when you think people are watching, people are also watching, and
Yeah.
people are also feeling motivated by your efforts. Also, as I did mention, life is short, so why waste the time working for somebody and helping them to build their dream when you can be building yours, when you
Right.
can be taking a risk, and that is entrepreneurship. Taking risk to ensure that you're able to succeed and you're able to solve a problem, solving people's problem to be able to survive.
Indeed. Um, an entrepreneurial this journey is filled with risks. Because when you jump on that bus, there's a lot of ups and downs involved. So as you mentioned, risk taking. Certain persons may not be averse to the risks, or they may not be aware of the risks involved in entrepreneurship.
In other words, it's like a good heart. Because if your heart ain't good, many times you'll have heart attack. And you gotta ensure that you're healthy because your pressure would go up or come down. Because you've really got to work hard. If, for instance, if you were working with people and you do the bare minimum, you've got to be intentional when you're an entrepreneur. You could say that you're only gonna get up and work today, how you can get paid, how you can get money. People give you handouts. You've got to work hard and continue to work. And that is why I also love looking at persons who are successful and hearing how they were able to toil and overcome all of the challenges. And this morning was no different when I was listening to the story shared by the Guyanese critic and how he was able to work really hard and to be able to achieve and to be at a position where he could experience success. And that's every time I listen to him and the interviews that I would have done, I would share it with my business colleagues and we would look at it over and over as a sort of motivational video. If
Yeah.
the Guyanese critic can do it, we can do it too. And he's just one example. There are several persons who as well were able to come and they were able to put their foot in the mud and they were able to get their hands dirty and they would have worked to achieve what they want. And of course it wasn't easy, but perseverance and certain techniques and principles were implemented so that they can be successful and be where they're at today. And that would also help us to look at what are the successful people doing and what are we doing? How are they managing time? Are we managing our time? When we be stingy with our time, we become more focused because nobody will be able to get us to do all kinds of things, and we control our time. Time is money, and we use our time wisely so that we can pour it in ourselves. You can't pour from an empty cup. And when the going gets tough, what you pour into yourself, they will be your rod and your staff to guide you in the right direction, to build you up. I remember a few days we were looking at a video from Scandal, and we were also linking it to Jim Rohn, who said, "You are the average of the five people you spend the most time with." So when we think about the five people that we spend the most time with, and we're the average, it leads us to evaluate our circle. Who are the people we're spending time with? Are they party goers? Are they one that is development or goal oriented? Are they in line with where we want to go, or are they pulling us back? If you line with four drunk men, you're going to be the
Fifth
fifth.
one.
Likewise, if you line with five wise men or four wise men, you're going to be the fifth. So there are different principles and techniques that also must be implemented. Success don't come overnight, but you've got to work, you've got to put in the work, and you've got to be intentional about what you're doing and where you want to go. Having a vision and having a mission that can help you. And many people, sadly, don't visualize positive things for themselves. And I believe that is also linked to how persons were socialized and maybe their bored families. They've never envisioned success or what achieving certain things would mean like for them. And that's why we were also encouraged to begin with the end in mind. What do you want? What does success means for you? When you begin with that, thinking that in mind, it helps to form like a roadmap for you
Right.
to be able to go in that direction.
Yep. And if you can break down your vision into the shorter steps,
Hmm.
makes it easier to that goal.
Exactly. Because many of us, for instance, me, when I look at the big picture and what is there to be done, I get overwhelmed, I get frustrated, and I keep thinking, oh gosh, it's all of this to be done, and I would do
Mhm.
nothing. Just the thought of it would overwhelm me. So what I have to do now is to take things into different steps and to be able to set timelines and benchmarks. So when I'm able to achieve this, I celebrate my small win, and that also serves as a motivation for me to continue. And that is why, too, as entrepreneurs, you've got to know yourself.
Yep.
I'm currently teaching a class at the National Library, and we were focusing on self awareness. And many times when persons are talking about entrepreneurship, we forget the main component self. Who am I? Where am I? What is my purpose here? What is my SWOT analysis? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my motivators or motivation? Because they also help us in business and they also help us to succeed. And in times of trouble, they can provide some kind of direction to us. If we understand all of our strengths and we're able to employ them and we're able to know what skills we have and how to use them effectively, we'd be on a right path. And
Indeed.
likewise, when we understand our weaknesses, we work on reducing them.
Correct. Must do that SWOT analysis, as you
Hmm.
mentioned. I think it's critical. When we started, that was one of the first things I did, um, in terms of identifying the opportunities, but also the threats,
Hmm.
because there are a lot of seasoned recruitment agencies in Guyana, and when you move from your level to that level, you need to be able to compete.
Hmm.
So I think that's critical for all entrepreneurs.
No, but if I were to be honest, when I was employed, I didn't look at the threat. I looked at the opportunity because where I wasn't satisfied, and that environment was toxic. I wanted to run from there so bad that sometimes I left home at 7 a.m. and I meet to work at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That's because I wanted to be everywhere else except that environment. So I closed my eyes and I took that jump, and I jumped not knowing what would have been there, but I would have made do with whatever come my way. And as entrepreneurs, we've got to be able to take risks. Sometimes, even though we say calculated risk, sometimes we're not able to calculate. We got to go by faith.
Yep.
And there's no roadmap to entrepreneurship. Each business is unique, so while there might be some principles, each business is different. So you've got to go in and you've got to get the experience, and you've got to create your future and what you will have to shape your journey. I mean, When we look at, and I like to use this example that I learned, when we look at the person who created the first skyscraper, where did that person get that kind of vision from or insight?
Yeah.
How did they know that it would have worked?
Probably built one brick up.
But my point, you've got to be able to take the risk. And
Yeah.
somebody say, um, feel big. But every time I talk about feel big and I discuss this with a few person be like, feel big? Yeah, feel big. What do you mean? Well, feel big, what the person was saying is to have big dreams and big goals. And when you go at it, when you fail, you learn a way in which it won't work. So when you do good things, when you do big things and you fail your way, it is going to teach you valuable lessons that you're going to learn along the process, and things are going to come whereby going to be able to employ the teachings that you would have
Learn.
learned, and one day you'll get it right.
Yeah, because you don't learn from winning. I would say, the more mistakes you make, you're learning more lessons all the time. The more you fail, the more lessons you learn, and you're able to, if that challenge come up again, you're better equipped to tackle it. So
Mhm.
more mistakes, more failings equal more lessons, and better equipped to move forward as a person or as a business.
hmm and even so, I don't go out looking for no's. But when people say no to me, that is an opportunity for me to try an additional method. And for me to now let my brain work and to see how I'm going to achieve whatever it is I want. Somebody said every time I hear no, it's like I hear go. Because when I was doing the conference, they were saying, Maryland, you're going to do an entire 3 day conference. I tell you to do 1 day, but you're going to do 3 day and stuff, and all of these things. And you keep hearing go, go, go. You can do it. You need to strategize. When you feel, you learn, and you get up and you move out. You move on. It is better to have a high goal or a big goal and fail than for you to aim low and hit the target.
Yep, agree.
So this entrepreneur journey is one that is very interesting. You can learn so much. You can also hoard so much, but you have to have stamina. You have to have courage. You need to drink water and get your energy in check, and ensure that you're fit. And on the note of being fit, many times we want to achieve success, and we don't plan to be around for it. For instance, all of this work we're doing to be able to leave a legacy or to build and achieve success, we're working ourselves off. But when we work ourselves off, we don't take care of ourselves and to ensure that we're healthy to enjoy or partake
Right.
in whatever it is we would have created. And many times we just work and our monies are going back into doctor bills or so much. Because we didn't take care of ourselves effectively. We didn't plan to be around to enjoy the success that we dream of or we're working actively to have. I see you, Nigel. It's a pleasure to have you joining. I'm also seeing Veronica Wilson, Sandy Taylor, Sita Wilson, Kevin Joanne, Renetta, Stephen, Aaron, and several persons joining, even those joining on our YouTube channel and on TBN channel. I say it's a pleasure to have you. So entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. But if you want to succeed, this is something that I would have shared. But if you want to succeed, you must raise your swords and run into battle. And think about what the inscription on your monument will read when the history books glorify you. So you just get up and you just, well, not just run in, but you go forward to the unknown and you go forward to face challenges. You go head on. You will hit some stones. You'll get some roadblocks, but that's also okay. Nobody was able to do something from, well, unless you're very lucky. Many people, they do something and they fail at it, and you're not the only one who will fail. But it's okay to fail, and when you fail, it's okay to learn from your failure and move forward. That will help you significantly. Get up and get going. You feel, so what? Are you the only person in the field? And I was talking to somebody who mentioned that they were depressed in business and they were wondering what to do and if they give up because everything that they try wasn't working out or so on. And as we close, I encourage persons to think about your why. Why are you in business? And when your whys are so strong, even on days where you feel like giving up and not motivated, uh, the bills are watching you and everything, the whys must be so strong that they pull you out of bed and push you forward. Think about your whys and have strong whys to motivate you. Hello, Nasir. Good afternoon. Your whys must be so strong that they motivate you. Also, think about your strategies and your systems. Are they effective? What did you do? It didn't work. What else can you do? How can you be innovative and creative? How can you make your brand stick? And as we close, my important question to you tonight, there may be other recruitment agencies out there. Why should we support or why should we choose A&R?
Right. So why you should choose ENR is because we offer a personalized approach. In a sense, where we take time to understand our clients before we move into recruiting candidates for them. And another differentiation as to why ENR recruitment is or cost differentiation. In a sense, so some recruitment agencies they take money up front from candidates. That is something that we don't engage in.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone is looking for a job, that means they're in need of finance. So we don't believe in taking money from candidates. And in terms of our rates, they are affordable compared to the market rates. So that is a major differentiation there in terms of the cost compared to other agencies.
Awesome. And you shared something quite interesting because when I was working at a certain place, even right now, I'm wondering how some people are unemployed and they can afford several things. You'll see that they get the fanciest of phone and they're going on tours and trips and they're unemployed. And I'm wondering how are they getting funds to do those things. And most of the time when I was working with people, I was just working to be able to pay transportation to go to work, and later would leave back for bills.
Yeah.
So that's interesting where people are getting money from. I know that you mentioned that you guys don't charge until. Okay, that's interesting. How can persons contact you?
Okay, so our contact number is 616-1631 for clients or potential clients wanting to reach out to us to for staffing needs. You can give us a call there and we can have a chat with you. For persons or candidates seeking employment, we are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, we are on Skill Guyanese, those platforms that we would normally post our openings. We are also post on WhatsApp on that same number. So 616-1631 for companies or small businesses that require staff, you can reach out to us and we can work out something for you. As I mentioned, it's personalized, so every client is different. And candidates, feel free to submit your resume and we will find you a suitable job. It's coming down to year end as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And is there anything else you'd like to add? Any person you'd like to big up? This is the opportunity.
Okay, so I see think Alicia Juan. So Alicia Juan Ramgobin, that's my wife. I think she's on the live. Big up to Bojinat, my brother. I think Aji is on, that's my cousin. So you guys, Kevin Juan, that's my brother-in-law. So thank you guys for watching and basically supporting me throughout.
Awesome, and I'd like to also acknowledge Anissa Ali, Aaron, Henry, Veronica Wilson, and so on joining on our live stream. It's a pleasure to have you guys. I'm seeing Beverly Goodman also joining. It is a pleasure to have you guys, and I'd like to use the opportunity to thank you for stopping by at Entrepreneurship in Focus so that we can learn from you and learn about your business and most definitely support you in your future endeavors. Thank you very much. There you have it, guys. A young man in HR and an entrepreneur, and it was a pleasure interacting with him. Next week, we have another phenomenal guest lined up, and we are most excited to interact with you, our loyal viewers and supporters of Entrepreneurship in Focus. I encourage you to share the live stream. Do not be stingy with the information that you have received. Share it to a friend, share it to a family, so that they can also learn and grow, and we all grow together as iron sharpens iron. It is a pleasure to have you join us, and we look forward to interacting with you next Tuesday evening right here at 6 p.m. sharp. Thank you very much. Do take care.